Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And thank you for your patience while we got online here today. We'll give folks a few minutes to join in. If you are joining us on Facebook, please go into that comment section and just tell us where you're joining us from. And if you're joining us on Zoom, you can click the chat button. It's a little talking bubble down below, and say hello and let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have questions for us today, you can type those into the comment section on Facebook, or you can type it into the Q&A box on Zoom if you're watching on Zoom. So we'll just wait a moment or two. And while we do, I'm going to introduce our guest today is the lovely Lindsey, who is joining us with pad service dog Iroko or Rocco. And and he's somewhere there hiding, so hopefully he'll make an appearance at some point. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'll bring him over in a minute.
Snoozing on the couch. So so Lindsey, I'm going to start with the first question I ask everybody. I'm sure you're surprised. How is it that you came to be part of the Pads family?
I was just with family and talking about me getting a service dog when I was younger. I did decide that it was talked about while I was in high school, but I decided to wait until after high school. It would have just been too much in high school. I mean, I could have, but I chose not to. And then just happened to be looking, researching schools around, and found pads. And then like you and I were just talking, I applied. And then in October 2008, on the 20th, I was matched with my first girl, my first service dog, Silky, who I worked with for almost 12 years.
Yeah. And Silky was an amazing girl. And so now, yeah, well, I mean, and they all are, aren't they? So, and so I've seen people chiming in here. So Kathy's watching, who raised oh my goodness, so many people chiming in here. Hello, Terry and Lise and Sarah, Nicole, and Karen, thank you for joining us. And then I'm just seeing some folks on Zoom. Hello, Michelle from Saskatchewan, welcome. And we already have our first question. So right out of the, oh, hang on, and then it disappeared. So Nicole with Walker is asking, what is Iroko's favorite skill?
He loves to pull, but we have not been able to work on that in so long. I'm actually afraid to see what it's going to be like when we are able to get back to it. Just like all this weather has been terrible. But probably his favorite right now, he loves to pick things up. He can be a little too enthusiastic with it at times. So I would say, definitely his pulling when we get the chance to, and picking up items.
Snow and ice, for those of you that are wondering what we're referring to, are a challenging thing for both folks in wheelchairs, but also the service dogs as well. It's just a whole layer of things. So having to look out for their pads and all that good stuff, but then also find pathways that are actually passable in a wheelchair is.
I currently have a foot of snow in my yard.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So I'm sorry, the comments are flying here, so it's hard for me to keep up. I apologize, folks. So if you've just joined us, we're here with Lindsey and Iroko, and they are a second-time service dog team. And so Lindsey started her pads career with Silky, and now was matched this year, well, last year, I guess.
September of last year
with Iroko or Rocco. So I'm just going to call him Rocco moving forward, because I know that's what he's going.
That's what I call him. He does not get his full name unless he's in trouble.
Oh dear, it's like mom.
Which doesn't happen often, honestly.
So yeah, excellent. So Sarah's asking, what do you do to keep up with your skills when it's too snowy to go outside?
Just work on the skills that we can in the house. I mean, his picking up skills is something that he does daily, no matter what. like I just said a minute ago, I will probably have to go back and talk to Miranda once the snow and everything and this weather clears up and go, can you help me get us back on track with polling? It wouldn't surprise me if we kind of are going to end up needing some help with that one, just because we have not been able to do it in so long. But that's okay. Honestly, just working through his skills in the house daily, which, I mean, I don't really think about it because it's just something we do anyway. I mean, it's just his skills that he does in the house or something that he does daily.
Yep.
And then when we're out, I mean, we just, yeah, they're just something that we work on daily. I just want to mention something I just thought of this, mention something to clients when you're out. Because I've noticed a lot of the PADS dogs now don't have the please don't pet me patches on their pad things anymore. I've done something with Rocco, one, because he's not a super fan of people reaching out for him anyway. Like, he's just not that. He's social with the people that he knows and that he loves, but if you're a stranger, don't touch him. Like, don't touch him. He doesn't like it, and he will actually, I don't have to say please don't pet him, because he will back away. He will like scooch up beside me and he'll get as close to me as he can, and then if I notice him doing that, then I'll say something. But what I've noticed for those of us who don't have maybe the do not pet me patches, get your dog to carry something, even if it's something as simple as you have to take a empty water bottle, like, you know, the plastic water bottles, with you, and have your dog carrying it when you're out in the mall. I do find that if your dog is physically doing something, people tend to ignore them more.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, the good news is all our service dogs, we just redesigned our vests to add the ADI logo to them. But then we also at the same time added a printed, like it's a big wide band that can be read from a distance, because we used to have those little patches.
Yeah.
And it's hard for folks, like people lean in to try and read them because the printing
Yeah.
was so small, and
Yeah.
which kind of was counterproductive. So the new vests have a nice yellow band on the back that just in big bold letters says do not pet. So so that's exciting. So our clients, when they're getting replacement vests, et cetera, are getting those now. So we had a little committee, a little focus group of clients that kind of looked at potential designs, and we decided on that one, so that, because we hadn't heard that feedback before, that those patches that people would lean in to try and read them. So we went big. And so it's a big,
that makes sense. But I do notice, or even if
that's a great
people
tip.
aren't paying attention to the vest, have your dog constantly carrying or doing something, even if it's something that is as simple as a water bottle, and it is simply for that distraction, for them to not, you know, or if you've got a dog that maybe is a little bit more social, but just give them that mind work, and then people are seeing, oh, the dog is working. And I just find that
so it's win-win that way. Keeps the dog focused, keeps the people from not engaging, etc. I love that. That's fantastic.
I find when we go out, and if I forget his water bottle, we get a lot more people that want to be on him. Whereas compared to if I bring his water bottle, people are like, oh, service dog, that's great, but they ignore him. They might say something, but they don't physically reach out for him.
Yeah. So tell me what kinds of things. So every PAD service dog, because every client is unique, has their like top 3 cues that they do. So what are Rocco's things that they do that he does probably the most for you? How does he help?
Probably his number 1 would be picking up things. What else does he do? Number 1 is definitely picking up things. We tried the front door for so long, but I should tell Margaret this. We did give up on it, just the way the step is. He keeps catching his feet on it all the time. I'm like, we're not hurting your feet. We're not doing that no more.
And pulling. So we were talking about pulling earlier.
Definitely his picking up things and his pulling are probably, probably not really 3, but definitely those 2. Definitely those 2 for him.
Nice. Well, and so for a lot of folks that might not understand, what does a pulling dog do? What does that look like for you in terms of, is it curb cuts, like helping you up ramps, or is it distance?
No, it's definitely for me, definitely not around here. I've realized this. Our sidewalks are atrocious. to the point where it's not even safe for him to be pulling on our regular sidewalks. A lot of them in town, they're not safe. If my front wheels were to clip, it would pull, and it would pull me over forward. No, it's a lot of, I would use it a lot around here. I mean, due to our wonderful pandemic that we have going on right now, I haven't been able to, which means I haven't been able to have him up there. But normally I would be volunteering at one of our local schools a lot. So we've done that hill just as practice. Mostly just pulling around the neighborhood, and
Nice.
it's mostly just for when we are going out, if I'm with somebody and we're out longer, it's just more of a he helps to keep up kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what his pulling is for me, is just more of a steady. It's not even necessarily a fast run pull. It's just a let's keep up. If you're walking with somebody, it's more of a slow, steady, let's keep up kind of thing. Excellent. Which I have to remind him sometimes that that's what it is.
Fabulous. So for those of you watching, if you have any questions for Lindsey or for me, you're welcome to throw them into the chat, into the chat box, the Q&A box on Zoom, if you're watching on Zoom. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can type them into the comment section and we will try and answer them for you. And so I know you touched on this a little bit in the last question. How has it been getting a dog during a pandemic? What does that look like for you? Like how is that different, better, worse, et cetera, than the first time around when you did everything in person?
Well, I guess for me it was different because my first team training was obviously my very first team training. So that was a little nerve-wracking all in itself, the first one, just based on the fact that it was my first. I think it's definitely more doing it online. You kind of get more time to think about it, to physically go through that process before you get your dog. I think your mind is a little bit more. I think personally for first-time clients, it's great. It would be great. Just because you get that time to think and process and go through those commands in your head, or go through any of those processes in your head before you get the dog, and you're not not that we're complete. Yes, you're throwing into it in a way, but not that you're throwing into it and gone and left. Here's your dog, go have at it. We're not, of course not. The trainers are great. Ron and Margaret and them, they're all great. And any help that you do need, you get it. But I think with the online, you just get a little bit more time to process things and think it through.
Yeah.
Without having the added stress of, okay, got to think this through, got to go through it, and have the dog to deal with at the same time.
Yeah, I think, it's something we've talked a lot about at PADS in the last couple of years, is that, it was one of the real silver linings of COVID is we didn't have a choice. We had to move things online, or we would have had to have stopped placing dogs altogether. But the beautiful thing that's come out of it is the realization that it's actually a better model for learning and knowledge retention and all those things, for the reasons that you say, right? Like you are working through kind of a unit a week or whatever it is, and you have time to read and listen and then interact in kind of a Zoom environment with your instructor and ask questions, et cetera, without the pressure of I have a dog at the end of the leash and I need to manage what they're doing and make sure I'm rewarding and reinforcing and, all those things as you're learning to do all those things. So it kind of gives you that pre-learning kind of segment, which I think also being able to do that in your own environment, like doing that from home where you have all your normal supports and assisted devices, and whether it's your family or whoever is with you, if that's the case, that it's just less stressful to learn when you're not in a brand new environment, you're living somewhere else, you don't necessarily have all your familiar things with you, you're not sleeping in your own bed. So it's just it's kind of the best of both worlds, I think, now. So
I can see where it might be a slower, painful is not the word, but I can see where it maybe would be a slower process for clients who, and it was, even for me, it was great for me, but it was also a slower process for me too, as a second time client, where maybe some of our second, third, fourth time clients, it might be a little bit more, okay, come on, we can work with the dog now, just because we're so used to, we've done the team training, we've done it, we know that. But I think definitely for first time clients, I think it's, I mean, it was great for me though too, but I think definitely for a first time client, it might be great because you are definitely not having the added stress of trying, yes, as you just said, Tara, trying to retain all that information and make sure the dogs, as you're trying to listen to the instructor and having to peek under the table and go, okay, what's my dog doing? Is it eating something off the ground that it shouldn't be? Is it getting up? Is it sniffing? Is it,
Yeah. So it's been interesting, and we look at it, definitely increases our ability to kind of streamline and kind of bring folks in and kind of work them through the process before they come on site and get their dog, or the dog goes to them, et cetera. So we're excited about that, and are actually kind of keeping with that model moving forward for folks, because we discovered that it does in so many ways work better. It also allows us that opportunity a little bit to kind of tailor that team training for the folks that are going through, if they're all repeat clients, et cetera. And I mean, our training protocols, et cetera, have changed. The other really beautiful thing is, I think we talked about this when we had our Tune In Tuesday with Miranda a little bit, is because we kind of moved on to that platform, Miranda has taken over doing kind of like a continuing ed program for clients that have got their dogs, so that she can meet up with folks online kind of on a regular schedule and do little client education pieces, which, if we tried to do that in person, it would have been like prohibitive in terms of like travel costs and all those kinds of things. And so it just means we're doing things better, but ultimately being able to place more dogs because we can do it more efficiently and cost effectively, I guess. So that's fantastic. All right, well, we're only on for a few more minutes here, and I see a few new people have joined us. So we're just here with Lindsey and Rocco, and if you have any questions for them, feel free to throw them in the comment section here. I'm just looking to see if there's anything I missed. Sorry, I have to multitask and scroll and check in different places. So is there anything else you want to share with us? Tell us what you love most about Mr. Rocco. He's, I think, the first dog in the history of PADS to leave advanced training with his own hashtag. And
he suits it like a glove. Oh, he suits it. He is so now I don't know if this is a male dog thing. I mean, I've grown up with labs. He will be our 4th lab in the house, second service dog in the house, but he's our very first male.
Yeah.
We've all had, I mean, the other pet dog we had Jersey.
Yeah.
And then I had Jenny before that, and then Silky, and then now him. He's our first male, and he is very he's a Velcro dog.
Yeah. So I will say that that's not a male female thing. It's interesting because we get that all the time in puppy raising or in like applicant services, where people are like, well, I want a female because they're more affectionate, or I want a male because they're more affectionate. And we're like, yeah, that's not actually something that differs between gender. It's an individual dog thing. So, if you've had 3 females and you assume that they're not as Velcro-y as a male because your sample size is very small, you happen to have had 3 that aren't and 1 that is. So so it's not a sex thing with the dogs in terms of like a trait that is true to one or the other. But it is, it's interesting because some of our dogs have that very Velcro personality, like you can't leave the room, right? And they're like, need to be with you.
We call him our 65-pound Chihuahua.
Oh, Rocco.
Because if he has the choice to be on your lap or be anywhere else, he will choose your lap.
Yeah. So Kathy, who raised him, is just saying, when we were asking about questions, and she came on and said, can I please see my boy?
Yes, Kathy, I will take you over to him right now.
We're just gonna, we were talking about how he was snoozing on the couch as we were.
Yes, he's snoozing, Kathy. That's why. There he is. There's the boy.
Oh, have to tip down a little bit.
Oh,
There we go. Hi, handsome.
he's like, yeah,
He's-
whatever.
I'm like, I don't see the hashtag Iroko enthusiasm right now, sir.
No,
He's like,
no,
it's not.
no. He just before we came on, he was outside playing in the snow. So
Oh, so now he's warm and cozy.
yes,
So,
I'm actually surprised he's not laying on his blanket. Oh, it's on the floor. That's why. Like he's got his own blanket that he likes to curl up in. So
oh, that's awesome. So Iroko's been enjoying the snow, so that is lovely.
yes.
Yeah,
He does well in the snow. He hates the rain. He hates the rain with a passion.
yeah.
He doesn't
Well,
like water.
I have to say, Rocco, I can't disagree with you. I would take snow over rain, I think, but
I have a pool. We have an in-ground pool in our backyard,
yeah.
and he could care less. You try to coax this dog in the pool, and he will look at you and go, "You want me to do what? I don't think so." He goes on hikes once a week, and he like barely will tip his, if they're out like on the trails and there's a little stream or even a puddle, he barely puts his feet. If he can walk around the puddle, he will walk around the puddle.
Yeah.
He
So what
does
you're saying is he's not a Labrador. He just
no.
looks like a Labrador.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I swear this dog has no lab in him whatsoever. He just happens to look like one.
Yeah. So we yeah, some of our dogs, I don't know how Cadence would live in a house with a pool in the backyard, but yeah, she loves her water, although she's way more controlled around water than she used to be. So that's lovely. So she can manage herself now. So
It's
but
funny because from what I know, because Pads has his breeding line, from
yeah,
what I do know, what I do know from talking to a few people, because I kind of follow on Instagram and talk to quite a few of the Pads dogs that are in his
yeah.
bloodline. They don't like water. It seems
Interesting.
to be the Pride bloodline that doesn't like the water.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, now I'm going to have to like remember that and look at the different dogs and see if there's any. So that's fantastic. Well, it looks like, so we've got a few, oh, Laura just jumped on and said hello and nice to see you.
Hey,
And
Laura.
Kathy says, thank you. So thank you so much for joining us,
No problem.
Lindsey. We really appreciate you taking the time to jump on and share about your journey with these two wonderful dogs. And I hope that the snow melts soon so Rocco can get out there and practice his pulling.
It's
And
raining.
yeah, Pat's saying Orca doesn't like the water either, which is especially ironic for a dog named after a whale. So she just didn't get it on either count, did she, Pat? So but thank you so much for joining us. And if you have just discovered this because you were watching on Facebook and saw it popped up, we do send out notifications before every Tune In Tuesday guest to let you know that it's coming up. We're aiming through the new year to have a guest on every other week. We discovered that we run out of folks really quickly because, we place a certain number of dogs a year. And so, so we're going to try and kind of keep things consistent. So you can plan. If you go to pads.ca/tune in Tuesday, there's hyphens in there between the words. You can register and we'll pop you an email letting you know who the upcoming guest is and the link to watch. So thank you so much. Oh, more people coming on to say, so Liz says, thank you for sharing your experience with Iroko. And Veronica is jumping on saying Mosley, who's in the Pride line, could care less when Bonnie and Freya are swimming. Yeah, and they're out of different lines. So yeah, it's always interesting to kind of see the similarities in some of the lines. And the DNA is strong, both in the ears, apparently, and the love or lack thereof of water. So,
Yeah.
but wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we will chat with you soon. And it was lovely to actually spend some time with you, Lindsey. It's been a
It
while.
was, Dara. Good to see you too.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Dara. Bye, guys.